Election 2024 is over. America has voted, and both sexism and racism have won the day. On Liberal Dan Radio, we will hold everyone accountable, from the media that failed to report the threat that Trump poses to this nation, to the people who supported him. We will pick up the mantle to educate the people about his actions, from being dictator on day one, pardoning January 6th domestic terrorists, implementing Project 2025, and any other draconian measures he tries to pass. And now, the resistance begins. The number will be 562-542-3261 or 562-LibDan1, but we're not opening the phone lines yet. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about first. You can always join us in either of the chat rooms, either at liberaldanradio.com or twitch.tv/liberaldanradio, and you can leave your comments, etc. in the chats whilst we discuss, and I'll try to get to them as much as I can. Shouts out to everybody who, early birds in the chat. You got Lisa, Josh, Jolie, Molly, Midas, Kevin, Anderson, Progressively Independent, Big Hook, Jeff, Alton, John Deff, Steve from across the pond.
If it's no Scottish, it's crap!
VD Hertz. It's hilarious. I'm almost gonna laugh, giggle like a little schoolboy when I see that, when I see your name. So there you go. Let's see, then I'm Jackie's in the house, David from Texas. I think we got everybody who's chatted, at least. Dawn, there you go. Hey Dawn, good to see you. And Jackie, I don't know if I said Jackie already, but if I said it, the name's so nice, I should say it twice anyway, right? So hello to all of y'all who've joined the show for tonight. And Roxanne, good to see you as well. Hopefully Janelle as well. Hopefully things will go well, and we'll have more people coming on today's program, where we have a bunch of stuff to talk about it, at least 2 planned Fat Man rants, if not more, and we'll be going on from there. Some small topics, some big topics, some I'm really pissed the hell off topics, you know, that good stuff. But I guess let's see, personal updates first. You know, things are going on. I finished a project at work yesterday, or at least got it well enough done so that I can make some changes now. But, you know, it's good to have deliverables, right? So that was a good thing. Cassie's still home. She's doing better and better every day. It's just wonderful to have her here, even though she has to sleep downstairs and I'm sleeping upstairs. But, you know, hopefully we'll get to the point where everything is fully better, but at least she's home, and you know, whatever. There's still tons of expenses coming in. I have like, I just got a bill, a past due bill. I don't know why it's past due yet, but maybe it's just because time is flying by. But yeah, like $2,500 for that one particular one in and of itself. So that's going to be fun. I have an FSA account to pay it off, just so that's not a big deal. And of course, everybody who contributed to GoFundMe will help me out with that as well. The GoFundMe is still up, is in the show description on YouTube. If you want to go check that out and share it or contribute, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Aaron, for joining. Appreciate you. As always, good to see you. I did get a few minutes start late because I was going down a rabbit hole, which is the student loan topic, and I looked up and I was like, oh, it's 7:59. I need to start the show. So at least we're not on Blog Talk Radio anymore, so it's not like a hard 8 o'clock start. I have some wiggle room when it comes to what I can do. But let's start. I already got 23 viewers. All right, let's start with one of the things I put on the bottom of the also deal. Brandon Gill, congressperson from Texas, the 26th Congressional District of Texas, introduced on March 3rd a bill to the 119th Congress the Golden Age Act of 2025. The legislation would require that all $100 bills feature a picture of Donald J. Trump on the front of every note, and it will be let's see. Congressman Gill's legislation states the Secretary of Treasury shall release to the public the preliminary design of the $100 note prominently featuring Donald President Trump no later than December 31st, 2026. The legislation would require that all $100 bills after December 31st, 2028 feature a picture of Donald J. Trump. Have we ever had a bill? Have we ever had a note that had a living president on it? Well, I don't think Donald Trump deserves to be on our money regardless of what denomination of bill it is. But I don't think we should break with tradition that we put living presidents on the bills. But I really do think, though, that we should really be calling it the Golden Shower Age Act because, well, we've all heard the stories about the Pete tapes and, well, yeah, that's about all it's worth. And if we could make a denomination like a penny bill, like that's maybe what he should be on, a penny bill, not the full on $100 bill. If you want to make people nuts, I mean, I guess there's two things that'll happen. One thing, all of the people on the left will in no way ever want to use a $100 bill ever again, or will just use the ones that don't have his face on it and his name on it or whatever. Or you have the other side of the aisle who will probably just fall over themselves trying to hoard all of the hundreds of dollars for themselves and nothing will get spent. Maybe that's their way to cause deflation going on, or reduce inflation by having rubes and other low intelligence, poorly educated people to just hoard money that they really need to be spending simply because it has Donald Trump's picture on it. And then they're going to go try and get it signed by him, and he'll put his little ugly scribble on it, and it's just further them making a mockery of this country. They're making a mockery of this government, them making a mockery of the presidency. It's just yet another example. And again, do we think that this is serious on its face? Can we risk anything that they push not being taken seriously on its face? It could very well be just another one of these distractions that they're trying to come up with to make us talk about this so we don't talk about the other BS that goes on in this government and under Musk and Doge and Trump and Hegseth and anybody else who's doing any of the ridiculousness. Now, Linda McMahon, former executive and current wife, I guess, of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, former owner of the WWE, which used to be known as the World Wrestling Federation until the World Wildlife Fund got mad that they had the same initials and kind of forced the WWE to change it to the WWE instead of the WWF. That's silly because when I think of WWF, if I'm talking about the WWF, I'm likely talking about the wrestling, not talking about the World Wildlife Fund. I don't think I've ever spoken about the World Wildlife Fund and not used the full name of it. I don't think I've ever referred to it by its initials. Maybe that's because I knew wrestling as a kid as WWF and therefore silly. But nobody with a brain would confuse the World Wildlife Foundation or whatever with the World Wrestling Federation. It's just silly that they made them rename it. So, Lisa, he should be on the $3 bill. Yes, $3 bill. What about a $11780 bill? I don't. What's that in reference to? I don't know. Is that a specific reference to something or? But yeah. Wait, let's get ready to bumble. Wait, are we doing matchmaking here on Liberal Dan Radio as well? See, he's gonna get the crap harassed of him when he rolls up here, not convinced he'll even appear in public. To Trump or somebody else. The stock market is tanking. Kiss your 401k goodbye. Well, what I'm trying to do, honestly, with my 401k, I'm trying to take out a 401k loan now because A, it'll help me now, and B, if I take out the 401k loan now and then I make pay, and then the stock market crashes, if I get beat the stock market crashing, then I'll be able to actually buy the dip when I'm making my loan repayments. And then when it goes back up, I'll actually make money off of loaning off to myself. So that's the legitimate way to do it, unlike the other ways that people do crap, like when they had the federal government, when Trump had the federal government buy up cryptocurrency to spike the price so they could all sell it and then make a profit. Or, all the crap that he's doing with the stock market where, he's basically saying, oh, there needs to be some hurt. There's going to be some hurt before, it gets better. Well, no, the hurt what's going to get better is that they're trying to force the dip so they could buy the dip and then sell when it goes back up. Because that's the scam. That's one of the many scams that the Trump administration is doing. I'm sure lots of millionaires and billionaires are just will be making tons of money as the stock market plummets. They all buy low, and then it goes back up, and then they make bank. Because that's what else would we expect a snake oil salesman as president and a 34-time convicted felon as president? What else would we expect him to do, right? See, Steven says Franklin wasn't a president and thought he wanted a $250 bill. Yeah, I don't know why this guy wanted the $100 bill instead of the $250 bill. Maybe that's somebody else's plan. I don't know. Trump will be like, why don't we just put my name and face on all the money? Screw Hamilton, screw Lincoln, screw everybody else. Just me on your money. You just get a different look. On the $100 bill, I look this way. On the $50 bill, I look this way. On the $2 bill, I look this way. Anyway, yeah. See, anyone remember the old adage about the $3 bill and it describes weird, not to slur? Yes, I do remember the $3 bill comment. Yes, it's something as a $3 bill. It's the EVs, and my 401k lost 8% of the 16% I made over the last months of Joe Biden. Yeah, I don't expect any difference. 250 Comb, I guess, KOHM. Thank you very much for the first time chat. And it's the Roaring 20s redo, which we all know what followed the Roaring 20s, right? Or what happened in the Roaring 20s afterwards. We then got the stock market crash and the Great Depression, because, that's what's going to happen. And it's going to suck for everybody, except for the rich people who are going to make like bandits. Because, what is it? Like, similar like Game of Thrones, when was it Bronn said that he loves the thieves loves the siege. The first thing to do when the gates are closed, they steal all the food, and then they sell it back to the people for the jewels that they might have. And at the end of the war, the thieves are the richest people in the city. Well, take that and apply it by 10,000 or 10 million or whatever for Donald Trump and this administration, because they love making a downturn in the economy, because they buy up all the stocks, and then when it goes back up, they get to sell them and they get to make bank. And what they're probably also doing is probably have a bunch of other people probably shorting stocks to make sure that, they can make money on the way down too, right? So, the Smoot, Evie's on, the Great Depression and the Smoot-Hawley Tariffs Act of 1930s, which raised or lowered tariffs. Raised tariffs. And did it work? It did not work, and America sank deeper into the Depression. Thank you, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, for teaching everybody economics lessons, including the Laffer curve and voodoo economics, etc. So, see, 3 GOP presidents during the 1920s, adding tariffs upon tariffs, climaxing with the crash in 1929. FDR brought on the recovery. Well, that's the problem. It's always the Democratic president's job to fix the mix-up, to fix the screw-ups of the Republicans that preceded him. President Obama had to deal with the after effects of George W. Bush's administration. President Biden had to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic, which was exacerbated, by Donald Trump's inadequacies as a leader and his ineffectiveness as a leader when it comes to actually doing the right thing during the pandemic. And of course, Joe Biden had to fix the problems that Trump caused. And I'm sure whatever Democratic president follows King Trump. Hold on. King Trump.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Thank you. Uh, whatever Democratic president follows him will have much more of a mess to make up, and we'll be talking about much of that soon. But, Brandon Gill, whose signature is just very weird, I guess. I don't know if it's signature or his logo on his house website, gill.house.gov if you want to see it. But yeah. One silliness. Oh, really? It's timed out. My session is expired. Hopefully I still have that. Yeah, still have that one. There you go. So yeah. So there's the Golden Age Act. Oh, I forgot to look this one up. Hold on. So, 3 days ago, what happened? A cisgender woman in Arizona was harassed by police officers in a women's restroom of a Tucson Walmart late last month. Kalaya Morton, 19 years old, of Phoenix, said that she and her ex-girlfriend were using adjacent stalls in the store's women's restroom when two male sheriff's deputies entered. They were flashing lights on our feet saying, "You have to get out of here. You have to come out. We need to talk to you." Morton, who identifies as a stud, which is, according to, this is LGBTQ Nation, I know what it is, but just in case nobody knows what stud means, it is a slang for a black masculine presenting lesbian. She believes a store employee who had been eyeing her earlier reported her to the cops, believing that she was a man. As the advocate notes, Arizona law does not dictate that people use public restrooms that correspond with the sex that they were assigned at birth. And on February 19th, Morton posted a brief video of the encounter showing the two deputies in the women's bathroom. They came into the girls' restroom because I'm a girl and they didn't think I was a girl, so they tried to come take me away. The only men in the restroom were the cops. The incident comes amid growing hostility towards transgender folks in America. And apparently, I think she flashed them. I think she also flashed them. But it's absurd and ridiculous that this is going on. This is the problem with the bigotry that comes with the MAGA and the Donald Trump administration. The problem is just that, not only are they going to hurt the people who they're targeting, they're going to use that against other people if they happen to just think that they are the people who they're targeting. In this particular case, they thought somebody who looked masculine enough to potentially look like a male from whatever angle, I guess, was the person was being looked at. They assumed wrongly, they assumed incorrectly that the individual was a trans man. The individual was a cis woman who is a lesbian who just happens to be just more butch. And even more people are going to get hurt by their horrible culture war that they are waging in this country. And this is not the first time we're going to see this. This is not the last time we're going to see this. We're going to see more and more deplorable actions being taken, all because the people who are bigots, who are transphobes, who are homophobes, who are anti-Semitic, who are anti-Muslim, who are anti-women are going to be more and more and more emboldened as the Donald Trump administration moves forward. The Donald Trump administration is a threat to everybody who's a part of a marginalized and oppressed group. And honestly, they're a threat to everybody. Even if you're a cisgender, heterosexual, white male who has no disabilities or whatever, even if you're one of those type of people, you're still going to get hurt. You might not realize it because if you voted for Donald Trump, you might be too stupid to realize the harm that is being put onto you. Because probably what's going on is you're seeing the harm that they're doing to other people, and you're sitting there cheering it while you're watching your 401k accounts, drop, watching your bank account dwindle, watching the price of eggs go up still, watching gasoline go up, watching all the prices of everything go up, watching tariffs go up, watching China. I guess China, I think today has said that they're not going to be buying cattle from America anymore, and as such, America's beef industry is going to be harmed. They're trying to spin the whole thing about U.S. aid and not those funds not being spent. Well, that means that you'll be able to grow more crops for the people in the country, and which means that they're either going to sell less of the crops and have waste, so much for fraud, waste, and abuse, right? Or the price will be undercut so much that they can't make any money because they'll have too much supply. And then when it later comes back in that we need to ramp up more production for whatever reason, that we have to ramp up more production, we're not going to be able to do it quickly. And if it's an emergency, what happens then? More people are going to get hurt. Why? Because the Donald Trump administration doesn't measure twice and then cut once. The Donald Trump administration has no cares for you or your family or whatever, whoever else they may hurt, as long as they're being rich and they're using the culture war to attack the people that they hate. Speaking of attacking the people that they hate, Pete Hegseth and the War Department of whatever, his head of the military. There are war heroes and military firsts that are among 26,000 images flagged for removal in the Pentagon's DEI purge. References to a World War II Medal of Honor recipient, the Enola Gay aircraft that dropped an atomic bomb in Japan, and the first woman to pass Marine infantry training are among the tens of thousands of photos and online posts marked for deletion as the Defense Department works to purge diversity, equity, and inclusion content. Yes, an airplane is being tagged, or a picture of an airplane is being tagged for removal. Why? Because they're afraid of the word gay. What? These people are so fragile. They are so fragile. They can't even handle the word gay, even though the context of it is not the context that they think it is. The database was confirmed by U.S. officials and published by the AP, includes more than 26,000 images that have been flagged for removal, but eventual total could be much higher. One official who spoke on the condition of anonymity. Isn't that always interesting how that happens? Although, of course, I'm trying to get some information myself from something, and, well, if I do get it, that person's going to be an anonymous source anyway, so whatever. Let's see. Hold on. I'll finish that. I'll get to your question in a second, Lisa. One official who spoke on the condition of anonymity, whatever, said the purge could delete as many as 100,000 images or posts in total when considering social media pages and other. Okay, hold on. Something's going on. Let's see. I think we're good. Let's just give a wave just to see. Let's see. There we go. So we're still streaming. I think we had a little bit of a hiccup right there. Yes, Evizant Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. Thank you for stumbling over my words. Maybe I'm just, wanting to forget that. Selective memory and everything. I can't believe that that Trump got him appointed to be Secretary of Defense. So I just don't want to say it, right? Let's see. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has given the military until Wednesday to remove content that highlights diversity efforts in its ranks following Trump's executive order, ending those programs across the federal government. Look, I don't agree with Donald Trump trying to remove diversity, equity, and inclusion programs from, the government. That's, it's something he's doing, and that's something I disagree with. The only thing I'll give him credit for, I guess, it was in his little Pettysburg address, is I'll give him credit for the fact that he's actually saying the words out loud and not just using the initials. He's actually saying that he opposes diversity, equity, and inclusion. And he's saying it full-throated, which is exactly what I've called on every single conservative who hates DEI or what they understand about DEI. That's what I've called for all of them to do, because if they're going to not like it, if they're going to disagree with it, then they should at least be full-throated about it and say the words. Don't just say the initials.
It is what it is.
But even if you stopped doing everything from now on, how much effort is being wasted? How much money is being wasted purging all these items from the databases, from the websites, from Facebook posts, etc.? How much, Doge is supposed to be working about government efficiency, right? That's not efficient if you're sitting there wasting time removing posts, old posts. It might be just more efficient just to take down the whole ass website and bring up the new one, right? Let's see. See, the vast majority of the Pentagon purge targets women and minorities, including notable milestones made in the military. It also removes a large number of posts that mention various commemorative months, such as Black History Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, and for women as well. A review of the database also underscores the confusion that has swirled among agencies. Aircraft and fish projects are flagged. In some cases, photos seem to be flagged for removal simply because their file included the word gay, including, again, service members with the last name and an image of the B-29 aircraft Enola Gay, which dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima in World War II. Several photos of an Army Corps engineer's dredging project in California were marked for deletion, apparently because the local engineer in the photo had the last name of Gay. And the photo of Army Corps biologists was on the list, seemingly because it mentioned that they were recording data about fish, including their weight, size, hatchery, and gender. We can't talk about the gender of fish now. Oh, it's Impeccable Living. Thank you for joining us, Impeccable Living.
Oh, my.
The Air Force briefly removed a new recruit training courses that had the Tuskegee Airmen after the order that drew the White House's ire over malicious compliance. But isn't the removal of the Enola Gay, that's either malicious compliance or it's ridiculously stupid on the part of these fragile idiots. And I tend to believe that the first thing wasn't malicious compliance. I believe it was purposely done, and they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. And then when they realized it, they just tried to blame it on malicious compliance, so they didn't have to look like the racists that they are. But make no mistake, this white supremacist administration is full of racists. Period. Full stop. As about the database, John Ulliot said in a statement, "We are pleased with the rapid compliance across the department with the directive, removing DEI content from all platforms. In the rare cases that content is removed that is out of the clearly outlined scope of the directive, we will instruct components accordingly." He noted that Hegseth has declared that DEI is dead. Excuse me. So yeah. Some images aren't gone. In some cases, the removal was partial. The main page post titled Women's History Month, all female crew supports warfighters was removed, but at least one of the photos that in a collection about an all-female C-17 crew could still be accessed. A shot from the Army Corps of Engineers titled Engineering Pioneer Remembered During Black History Month was deleted. Other photos flagged in the database were still available, include images of World War II women air service pilots and one U.S. Air Force Colonel Jeannie Leavitt, the country's first female fighter pilot. Also visible was images of then PFC Cristina Fuentes Montenegro, becoming one of the first 3 women to graduate from the Marine Corps Infantry Training Battalion, and an image of the Marine Corps World War II Medal of Honor recipient, Private First Class Harold Gonsalves. It was unclear why some of the images were removed, blah, blah, blah. And of course, the sad thing about this is that even though all of these things should be considered government records, I guarantee you that they're going to delete, not just remove the links. I'm sure they'll just delete them outright. And if they delete them outright, that should be considered a crime because you're destroying government property. But I guess President Trump has immunity from any of that because the executive branch is given pretty much full immunity, especially because you can't subpoena the communications between the chief executive, and the rest of the executive branch, because that is what the Supreme Court deemed and ruled on. So until that changes, I guess Donald Trump can do whatever he wants and get away with breaking whatever law he wants to break. So yeah. But let's see. Lisa had asked a question about whether or not Project 2025 believes everything after the 19th Amendment is not valid. I'm not sure. I mean, I have done deep dives into Project 2025 when looking at specific Trump policies and then comparing them to things in Project 2025. I haven't quite yet looked at that to see. The only reason I would say that that's probably incorrect is that if they don't like amendments, they would likely include the 17th Amendment, because a lot of conservatives don't like the 17th Amendment, which is the amendment that caused the direct election of senators, because it used to be before the 17th Amendment that you would have state legislatures would appoint the senators. But the history lesson of that is that in the past, you had very corrupt practices that were going on nationwide. There was tons of corruption with the naming of the senators from these states. And it basically, the states were basically doing the same thing, whatever. They basically passed on the responsibility to the voting people, to the populace, to the individuals who would be able to vote in the state. Voters, if you will. They were voting people. Yes. Great words. I have the best words. No one has better words. Yeah, you know. Sorry, gotta take a sip real quick. But anyway, so direct election of senators was being done automatically before the amendment was passed, and then they just went ahead and passed it because it was just to get rid of a corrupt practice. But for some reason, because that goes against the initial intent of the founders, who thought that the state government should be the ones who are doing it, these people want to repeal the 17th Amendment as well. So, you know, to me, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. It's hypocritical, simply because of the fact that conservatives always want the power in the hands of the people, typically. But why they don't like direct election of senators is that they can pay lip service to that idea that they want to give government, they want to give power, take power away from government and give it to the people. They'll pay that lip service. But the problem here is this: is that when you have the direct election of senators, you can't gerrymander districts when you have direct election of senators. So if you live in a state like, Louisiana, that has, it's a third Democrat, and maybe another sixth on top of that where it's like conservative Democrats, which is why John Bel Edwards was able to win the gubernatorial race twice against two terrible Republican candidates. But that's a statewide vote. If you left it to the legislatures, the conservatives have done such a horrible, for us, good for them job of gerrymandering not just the congressional districts in the House and Senate at the federal level, they've also gerrymandered the state level districts as well. So that if the legislature is gerrymandered and you're guaranteed to have minority rule because you managed to split up and weaken the Democratic vote while strengthening the Republican vote in the upper and lower houses of each legislature, then guess what? You're going to have a Senate that's going to lean more to the right than it should. So, but again, there should be no confusion as to the real reason why these people want to get rid of the 17th Amendment. Plus, I'm sure every other amendment. I'm sure they would want to get rid of every amendment after the 10th. They don't like the 14th Amendment. Conservatives have also said that the 14th Amendment was not ratified properly. I'm sure if Joe was watching in the chat that he would agree with that statement, even though I think he has even done so in the past, either when he called in or in a chat before. I do believe he has stated, and maybe I'm confusing him with another conservative listener. However, I do believe that it is absolutely the opinion of many conservative folk that the 14th Amendment was not ratified properly. And I'm sure they also don't like the way that, I'm sure they would absolutely want to get rid of the 13th Amendment too, because the MAGA conservatives aren't really patriots to the United States of America. The MAGA conservatives are patriots to the Confederate States of America. Because
it is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Wait, did I miss good news from Jeff? Oh, Mazel Tov. You have a new son from marriage. Son by marriage. My mother-in-law, may her memory be a blessing. When she, when we would talk about each other, I would call her my mother by marriage. I wouldn't call her my mother-in-law. I'd say mother by marriage. So, let's see, Jan Morgan. My internet keeps going out, so frustrating. Apparently, Twitter has been crapping the bed too. Of course, somebody posted on Twitter that Twitter was not working, and I'm like, well, if Twitter's not working, how are you able to post to it? So who knows? Who knows what's legit and what's not anymore? Hell, I would fully believe, I'd fully not put it past Elon Musk to have a fake DDoS attack on Twitter just to help Donald Trump do other terrible actions in the name of, security. But, it's kind of funny, a few days or weeks after Pete Hegseth decided that he was going to stop counter cyber terrorism efforts, specifically against Russia. Once he announced that, Now we're getting American businesses are getting attacked. American businesses are having DDoS, denial of service attacks, distributed denial of service attacks against them. I wonder. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was this particular one that's coming from Russia, but if we're trying to weaken ourselves as a nation, which is what Donald Trump seems to want to do, yeah, weakening our cybersecurity in the internet age seems to be mind-numbingly stupid. So, anyway, let's flip to water now, I guess. I knew I was going to be thirsty, so I brought myself lots of fluids. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, I should, maybe the next Liberal Day or one of the upcoming Liberal Day and Radio shirts that should come out should be something about the Enola Gay and DEI or something like that. I'll try and put some funny idea together because, I like making funny t-shirts. The first Liberal Day and Radio t-shirt that will be available for sale should be available soon. I don't know exactly when, but when they are posted, the ones that sell in the month of March will come at a discounted rate before the prices go up. That's not an inflation thing. It's hey, I want to give all the loyal listeners who want a t-shirt to be able to buy the t-shirt. And of course, the first one is going to be based on Al Gore algorithms and my joke that I often make about the algorithms. So we will see. Lisa, boycott X. I listen to Hal when Hal is talking about how you should not use Twitter. I don't call it X. I call it Twitter. But I keep, I've heard what Hal says about who it helps, but I don't think the amount of followers I have on Twitter is really helping anybody. And my concern at the moment is getting more reach. And I want to be able to get more reach, which means putting my crap out everywhere. So until I guess big enough to be able to justify me dropping it, or at least not using it anymore, because I don't want anybody else using my name either. But until that happens, I need to be able to put the post out. I've been trying to post more to the Facebook page and to the Blue Sky page, to my Blue Sky account as well. I've been trying to, put that information up there more, put the videos up there more, simply because maybe I'm hoping those will become better used. But then again, the most important thing is when you see not just like, share, and comment, but if you see social media posts, try and repost and whatever as well. That's also going to help the algorithms in those places too. MJ Daniel, good to see you. Thank you. Good to see you, Jan, as well. Let's see. Hello from Washington. It seems everything they are doing is corrupt AF or mind-numbingly stupid, or both. Could be corrupt and stupid. I mean, Donald Trump may very well be a con man. He can be a stupid con man, but he's still a con man nonetheless. And con man, even though he's a stupid person, as a con man, he knows the art of the con. He might not never know the art of the deal, but he knows the art of the con. Let's see. The depend majors of the Great Depression longer, overtaking economics, mathematics of economics. Nice. Eve is anti-asexual, have experienced the you just haven't read the man, or you need therapy because you're mentally unstable. That's I hate that. I mean, when I was younger, I wouldn't have said that to somebody who was asexual, but guys tend to think that if somebody doesn't enjoy something, the immediate response is typically, well, you must not have had the right guy then, right? And that can be considered toxic. So when I later stopped using that once I realized how toxic it was. But it's part of stories that I tell back from my day. However, yeah, I mean, but there's always one thing to consider. If sexuality depends, if somebody's refusal to enjoy something, or not refusal, but inability to enjoy something, can simply be written off under the idea that you just haven't had the right man yet, that means that for every guy saying that, you can also use that argument on him. You could say, well, have you ever slept with a man before? And if they say yes, or they say no, or if they say yes, then whatever. But if they say no, yeah, hold on. Do we start and restart? Oh, this one just went out altogether. All right, maybe we're back. Let's see. Oh, I think we're back now. Look at that. There we go. I just had to restart OBS, I guess. I don't know. OBS may be full of that BS. I don't know. What's the last thing y'all heard? Jeff Curry, be right back. Gotta go start a stream. Don't fall in. Anyway, I guess the stream, the YouTube stream stayed up long enough so that we could actually continue on the same stream instead of whatever. Anyway, I think I was talking about, I was in the middle of talking about the comment made by Evie Zant over on Twitch, where they're, just haven't had the right man yet. And I was trying to say something that that our good friend Impeccable Living might also appreciate. Yeah, right man yet. Yes. So if a guy makes the argument to any woman, whatever, that they just haven't had the right man yet, then clearly you could make that argument back to them. You could say, hey, have you slept with a guy before? If they say no, well, maybe you just haven't met the right guy yet. And then they're like, well, that's not true. That's not true. Well, then maybe you should stop using that line to other people as well. Because I guarantee you that most of the people who have said you haven't found the right man yet, even if that was true, would absolutely not be the right man for the job. Just saying. Wait, that's probably a Trump line.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Impeccable Living. I can't wait for rosé season. What is rosé season? Yeah. So don't cross the stream. Lesson from Ghostbusters. Especially if you're in the urinals and you're using a public bathroom. You definitely don't want to cross streams there. That's going to cause a huge mess. So anyway. So what else are we going to talk about? We got two things to talk about. Are we screwed up again? Is there another problem? Am I not streaming again? No, it looks like I am. No, I guess I was just frozen again. I don't know. I'm just not having good... I don't know if it's the internet today or if it's what, but some things are just freezing. And I updated OBS. I hope that's not the problem. Anyway, so let's go ahead, and we have two main things that we want to talk about today. One of which... Oh, let's go ahead and first, we do have a Hypocrite of the Week this week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play that, shall we? This week's Hypocrite of the Week is yet again national embarrassment President Donald Trump. He proclaimed March 9th, 2025 to be U.S. hostage and wrongful detainee day. On March 8th, ICE arrested Mahmoud Khalil on, trumped-up charges. When his wife tried to visit him at the detention facility he was supposedly brought to, he was not there. If Trump wants to make anti-Semitism a deportable offense, he's the first one who should go. To see who next week's Hypocrite of the Week will be, tune in live Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central on liberaldanradio.com or twitch.tv/liberaldanradio for more talk from the left. That's right. And there you go. This week's Hypocrite of the Week is Donald John Trump yet again. I sense a pattern, eh? But yeah, so wrongful hostage and U.S. hostage and wrongful detainee day. On this U.S. hostage and wrongful detainee day, we send our love, prayers, and support. I don't think Donald Trump is capable of love, is he? To every American being held in captivity. I vow to you, your families, your loved ones, that we will never forget you. We will never abandon you. We will commit to returning you safely home and bringing your captors to justice. What if your captors are the U.S. government and you're taking in people who might not necessarily be citizens, but who are here legally, and you're putting them away? Well, we're going to go this. There we go. Fat Man Rants. Here we go. The first of two tonight. Federal immigration authorities arrested a Palestinian activist Saturday who played a prominent role in Columbia University's protests against Israel, a significant escalation in the Trump administration's pledge to detain and deport student activists. Mahmoud Khalil, a graduate student at Columbia until this past December, was inside his university-owned apartment when several immigration and customs enforcement agents entered and took him into custody, his attorney Amy Greer told the Associated Press. Greer said she spoke with phone to one of the ICE agents during the arrest, who said they were acting on State Department orders to revoke Khalil's student visa. The attorney said that Khalil did not have a student visa, but he was a permanent resident with a green card, and the agent said, well, we're revoking that too. You know, because they don't know what the hell they're doing, so they just have to make crap up as they go along. Spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security, Tristan McLaughlin, confirmed Khalil's arrest in a statement on Sunday, describing it as being in support of President Trump's executive orders prohibiting anti-Semitism. Again, as I said in this week's Hypocrite of the Week, if he wants to deport anti-Semites, he should start with himself. Because Donald Trump is one of the biggest anti-Semites that I've seen. He went to a conference on anti-Semitism in front of a whole bunch of Jewish people and told them that if he lost, it would be the fault of the Jews. Now, you're telling us that if you're scapegoating the entire religion, if you would have lost, again, that's some Adolf Hitler level BS. That is absolutely some Adolf Hitler level BS. Now, there were hundreds of demonstrators in New York City on Monday to demand the release of Mahmoud Khalil. A federal judge steps away from the Palestinian activist, and Columbia University called for the activists and graduates' removal from. Let's say that again. As hundreds of demonstrators rallied in New York City on Monday to demand the release of Mahmoud Khalil, a federal judge just steps away blocked the Palestinian activist and Columbia University graduates' removal from the United States. Judge Jesse Furman said Khalil is to remain in the U.S. to preserve the court's jurisdiction as the court weighs a filing challenging his arrest and planned deportation. Hearing was scheduled for Wednesday at a federal court in New York City. Now, here's the deal. I'm in part of several groups that have both liberals and conservatives, leftists and rightists discussing these issues or whatever. And I was like, look, I'm a Jewish person. I don't like Hamas whatsoever. I don't agree with people who support Hamas. I have yet to see a single piece of evidence showing that this individual has any feelings towards Hamas that are positive. I do know that he was somebody who was working as a sort of mediator between the student activists who were protesting on Columbia's university and the administration of Columbia University itself. He was trying to have both sides work together on that. I've seen no example of him, doing anything that would deem to be dangerous or harmful to anybody. I've not yet seen him say from the river to the sea slogan, but unfortunately a lot of people believe that the from the river to the sea slogan is tame and not anti-Semitic when it is. But even if it was, I don't agree with the idea that we should be deporting people simply because they're anti-Semitic, and I'm Jewish. I don't want to sit here, and people should have the right to free speech. Now, I can criticize that speech. I have criticized the speech of the people who stood there and shouted from the river to the sea, because it is a phrase used by Hamas to justify the genocide and ethnic cleansing of Jews from the area. And there are other people who use it who don't realize that, who, some of them, when they do realize it, will stop using the phrase because it's anti-Semitic. It calls for our extermination. But I haven't seen anything with him saying anything about that. There was an individual in one of these groups that I was in that was talking about, didn't you know that there were people that were harmed at these protests? There are people that went to the hospital because of these protests. There were Jewish people who were trapped in a library, who were hiding in a library because they were afraid of what the activists might do, even though that wasn't at Columbia University. That was at a university close by, like a smaller one. And if I saw evidence that he committed crimes whilst doing this, and I think what happened to potentially the Jewish students who were trapped in the library what happened to them may very well could be considered a crime, but they haven't presented any evidence of that yet. And these people are just basically saying that they're willing to incarcerate people or to throw people out of the country simply because they're related somehow, not by a familiar relation, but they have some sort of connection to people who did these bad things. Unless he told these people to do it, though, unless he tacitly approved of that, unless he encouraged them to do it, or unless he participated in the harm that was done to these Jewish students, then I'm not going to sit here and say that these administration actions are correct whatsoever. Furthermore, not only does this not help Jewish people, this harms Jewish people because you're taking actions that are supposedly being done in our name that is really just for your anti-Muslim agenda, for your willingness and your desire to want to just kick all the Palestinians out of everywhere they live. I guess maybe he has more plans to redevelop other areas where Palestinians live. But, he wants to, turn all Palestinian activists into bad guys so he can further justify his actions in Gaza when he kicks everybody out and tries to raise it and redevelop it as a, Monte Carlo of the Middle East. And yes, you're right, Robin. They did not produce a warrant, at least as far as we know. ICE did not produce a warrant, and they do not have the authority or the ability to come in to a non-public area of the school and use and arrest somebody without having an arrest warrant. But again, we have a lawless president who not only does he not feel that the laws apply to him, he feels that he's a dictator from day one. He feels that he's a king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
His White House absolutely, posted an image on Facebook of him dressed up as king, as an animated Trump as king. And he has the Supreme Court who basically said that he can be as lawless as he wants because there's no way to go after him for said lawlessness. So there's nothing that Donald Trump feels that he's prevented from doing at this point. And the harm, again, that he's causing with all of these actions, including taking people who are legally here and trying to deport them anyway. Now, if it was shown that this person was an actual member of Hamas, sure, absolutely. Yeet the guy from the country. Get him out. I don't care. If you are an active part of a terrorist organization, I have no problem deporting you. But not just the people on the left, not just the Palestinian activists, mind you. If you are a member of a domestic terrorist organization in the United States, then you should also have those repercussions to you. Deport them too. If you really cared about Jewish people, President Trump, you would, wanted to be deporting all people who are anti-Semitic. But you're not going to do that because the people that are anti-Semites who are your base and your followers, you're not going to touch them because you need your brown shirts for the future. So you'll forgive me if I roll my eyes so far back into the head that I can see like the back of my skull or my brain or whatever you want to see. You'll forgive me if I don't believe Donald Trump and take him at his word that he's doing this because he wants to fight anti-Semitism. No, you don't. If you wanted to fight anti-Semitism, you would have made comments in the past how perpetuating that, Jews are good with money. If you wanted to combat anti-Semitism, you would have went to a conference on anti-Semitism and then blamed all Jews if you lost. You don't care about Jews, Donald Trump. You absolutely care nothing for the Jewish people. You just want to use the Jewish people as your pawns. And if you're a Jewish person, I'm speaking Jewish person right now. I mean, you can listen if you're not Jewish, but this is a message directly to the Jewish people who still support Donald Trump. You are allowing yourselves to be used as pawns for his Nazi goals. And if you can't see how what Donald Trump is doing right now and has been doing and plans on doing in the future, if you can't see that everything that he's telegraphed so far shows that he is using Adolf Hitler's tactics, shows that he's using Nazi tactics, shows that he hates, Jews, Muslims, etc., and will do what Adolf Hitler did to Jews to whatever, anybody else. I have no qualm in my mind saying that the people who are marginalized and oppressed, who are under threat from Donald Trump's actions, absolutely have every absolute right to be concerned that more actions will be taken that will be harmful to their lives, even ending them. Prove me wrong. Stop being an anti-Semite. But you Jewish supporters who are supporting him still, despite the fact that he's telegraphing his Nazism, despite the fact that he's, has Musk and other people give Nazi frickin' salutes at these, speeches that they give. Y'all need to, even Nick Fuentes said that, what was it, Steve Bannon's Nazi salute went too far? When a Nazi says you're too Nazi, that really means you've jumped the shark when it comes to Nazism. So yeah, you are not helping Jewish people at all, Donald Trump, with these actions. This does not help the Jewish people whatsoever. This hurts us. It also hurts people who are here legally. It hurts our system of justice because you're basically acting like a king, and you aren't a king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Despite how many times you want to say that you're a king. And again, if you're still supporting him, you're basically tacitly approving his bigotry, his hatred, his racism, etc. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. And of course, unless you're a Nazi, have a good day. So the constant conspiracy theories about George Soros is just an anti-Semitic dog whistle. Absolutely 100%. 100%. Not just George Soros. Globalists, international bankers. That's all code for the Jews. That is all code. That's all the only thing that means. When they talk about the Rothschilds, when they talk about the bankers, globalists, George Soros, etc. Elites, yeah. I don't know. Elites may broach that line, but still, the fact that even if elites isn't anti-Semitic, it's still ridiculous that you would be against people who are elite, right? Doesn't make any sense to do that whatsoever. Hit the wrong thing. Hate when that happens. So yeah, that was the first fat man rant. That was the first one. Here's the second one in a second. Let's bring up the White House presidential actions first. We'll go here first. Donald Trump has basically declared war on student loan borrowers. First, he has an executive order on March 7th, and this actually might not be first, but that's the first thing we're talking about. Restoring public service loan forgiveness. Of course, during his first administration, Betsy DeVos fought actually going through and, processing people's student loan forgiveness programs under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Plan. In 2007, Congress established the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program to encourage Americans to enter public service sector by promising to forgive remaining student loans after they completed 10 years of service in those jobs while making 10 years of minimum payments. The prior administration supposedly, according to him, abused that program through a waiver process using taxpayer funds to pay off loans for employees still years away from statutorily required number of payments. Moreover, instead of part of the reason that happened, by the way, Mr. Trump, is because you had loan servicers who were falsely and wrongly putting people into forbearance and deferment when they should have, so the Biden administration gave a one-time credit to people for those times spent in forbearance and deferment that weren't in school deferment, just so they could, be back on track with their student loan payments. But Trump wants to take away the ability to use this income-based public service forgiveness, whatever. If you aid or abet violations of 8 USC 1325 or other federal immigration laws. If you support terrorism, including facilitating funding to the operation of cartels designated as foreign terrorist organizations, blah, blah, blah. If you do child abuse, including the chemical or surgical castration or mutilation of children or trafficking of children to so-called transgender sanctuary states for purpose of emancipation from their lawful parents. Now, none of that is happening. You do not have examples of people having their genitals castrated, removed, or mutilated who are young, who are children. It doesn't happen unless you're under 18. If you're under 18, it doesn't happen unless you're 18 or older. And even if you're 18, you still have to be on hormones for a year, so it doesn't really happen until you're over 19. Engaging in a pattern of aiding and abetting illegal discrimination, which I'm sure only means discrimination against white folks, or engaging in a pattern of violating state tort laws, including laws against trespassing, disorderly conduct, public nuisance, vandalism, obstruction of highways. So basically, if you took part in a protest to protest, any sort of war that was going on, you now then lose your ability to take advantage of the public public service loan forgiveness program? No, that's ridiculous and stupid and wrong. But it goes beyond that because Donald Trump hasn't just... There was a federal judge that, blocked out most of the SAVE plan. Now, technically, I'm still in student loan repayments. I am technically, if I look at my Mohila website, you will see that I am still under the SAVE plan. That has not changed yet. Mind you, yet. But the SAVE plan was under threat. But some of the ruling that took place made people believe, in that lower court ruling, that if you had other forms of loan repayment plans, that those would be at risk too. And I'm like, well, why would they be at risk too? There are people who believe that these things were not correctly passed, just like they believe all these other things were not correctly passed, and they manufacture judicial rulings to that effect. But now, income-driven student loan repayment plans have been suspended. They've been suspended after the February 18th U.S. Appeals Court expanded its injunction blocking a Biden-era income-driven repayment plan meant to ease the burden of student loans. While President Donald Trump is trying to shrink the Department of Education, the agency has suspended all 4 of its most affordable federal student loan repayment plans. The 4 IDR plans promise lower monthly payments and offered faster route to loan forgiveness. Now borrowers are left with the only more expensive repayment plans. Now, keep this in mind. The Department of Education suspended all 4 of the income-driven student loan repayment plans, including ICR, income contingent repayment, pay-as-you-earn, income-based repayment, or IBR, and saving on a valuable education, or the SAVE Act. Again, I am technically still listed as being on the SAVE plan. I don't know how long that continues. I don't know if that continues until my forbearance ends or whatever, because I'm in administrative forbearance back from the Biden administration. Again, we'll see. But here's the thing. Here's the rabbit hole I was looking down before, and I started my show a little late. So let's switch on over to here, away from the fat man rant. And here, if you read up here, borrower's rights and responsibilities statement. So this is part of the borrower's rights and responsibilities. So we have responsibilities, but we have rights too. Section 11 of this is literally my promissory note. This is what I saw, or at least my application to consolidate the loans under the federal government so that I could, at the time, I was still working for a nonprofit organization, so I was trying to qualify for the PLSF. I no longer work for a nonprofit organization, but again, I still was consolidated under here, and I was placed under the SAVE plan during the Biden administration. Repaying your loan. General, unless you receive a deferment or forbearance on your loan, your first payment will be due within 60 days, blah, blah, blah. You must make payments on your loan even if you do not receive a bill. You must repay all of your direct loans, blah, blah, blah. Unless you want to repay your loans under an IBR, pay-as-you-earn, or ICR plan, see below, and you have other direct loans that do not qualify, blah, blah, blah. Repayment plans for all direct consolidation loans. You may choose standard repayment, graduated repayment, extended repayment, or the income contingent repayment plan to repay any direct consolidation loan. Standard repayment plan. Under this plan, you'll make fixed monthly payments and repay your loan within 10 to 30 years, not including periods of deferment or forbearance, blah, blah, blah. Graduated repayment plan. Under this plan, you will make lower payments at first and they will gradually increase over time. You will repay your loan within 10 to 30 years, blah, 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 blah. Extended repayment plan. You are eligible for this plan only if you have outstanding balance over 30 grand. You have no outstanding balance on direct loan program, blah, blah, blah. You will repay your loan in full over a period of not to exceed 25 years from the date of the loan entered repayment. You may choose to make fixed monthly payments or graduated payments that start lower and increase over time. If you make fixed monthly payments, your payments must be at least $50 a month and will be more if necessary to repay the loan, blah, blah, blah. Income contingent repayment plan. Under this plan, your monthly payment amount will either be 20% of your discretionary income or a percentage of what you would pay under the standard repayment plan with a 12-year repayment period. Additional repayment plans for the direct consolidation loans that did not repay plus loans. You have income-based repayment or pay-as-you-earn repayment plan. The income-based repayment plan under IBR, your monthly payment is 15%, 10% if you're a new borrower. Your annual discretionary income divided by 12. For this plan, the difference between your adjusted gross income and 150% of the poverty line, amount for your state residence and family size, blah, blah, blah. To initially qualify for IBR, continue to make payments. You have to, you must be less than the amount that you would pay under the standard repayment plan, yada, yada, yada. If you're a new borrower for the IBR plan and you have no outstanding balance on a direct program FFEL loan, or if you have no outstanding balance, your servicer will determine whether you are a new borrower based on information about your loans, and also pay-as-you-earn repayment plan or pay-as-you-earn plan. Under the pay-as-you-earn plan, your monthly payment is generally 10% of your annual discretionary income divided by 12, yada, yada, yada. So, if all of that is in my application, and all of that is in, my borrower's rights and responsibilities, emphasis on the word rights. If I, as a borrower, have the right to income-based repayment, then how can the Trump administration or any administration deny my ability to be part of income-based repayment? If they want to stop it for new students, it sucks. If they want to stop it for new borrowers, it really sucks for them, and I disagree with it. But if anybody has not yet filled out one of these forms, or if anybody has not filled out a promissory note that includes the idea that you can have income-based repayment, if they haven't filled that out yet, I could maybe understand new people not getting that. I don't agree with it, but I could at least understand the justification there of at least where they would be able to hang their hat in a court of law. But as we just saw in the paperwork that I've showed you from my application, I literally just showed you that. We have the right as current student loan borrowers to participate in one of these many income-based or income-driven repayment plans. And them taking that away from me is a violation of the contract that we signed. Now, I shouldn't be surprised that President Donald Trump wants to renege on a contract, because that's how he made his money. He believes that he could just go back on any contract that he takes part in or that he's responsible for or whatever, because he doesn't feel that he should have to pay any of it. Because, that's the way he rolls. But that is absolutely a violation of the terms of the contract that I signed. And they should not be able to change the terms of the contract after the fact, after it's signed. Period. End of story. I should just use Justice Alito's line from the ruling the other day that said that they couldn't stop paying these people for the U.S. aid. The argument that was made by Justice Alito was that if the United States was forced to repay these debts, that it would cause irreparable harm to the United States taxpayer. You know what's going to cause me irreparable harm? Alito, Trump, Doge, whoever you are, any of you damn MAGA supporters who voted for this bullshit? You know what's going to cause me irreparable harm? If I lose all of the ability to actually make income-based repayment plan, I'm forced then to make full monthly payments. I'd be done financially. Just done. I don't know what else I would do at that point. I would absolutely be financially ruined. And I would never be able to financially recover from this. To steal a line from the Tiger King. It's absurd. There's no way that they should be able to tell, first the U.S. aid people that they can't get repaid for work already done when payments were promised. They shouldn't be able to do that. And there's no way that they should be able to change the rules midstream. Now, they already did it one part because, back in the middle of me being in school, they also made it so that you couldn't declare your student loans in a bankruptcy filing. So they already did a bait and switch with that. But now they're doing a bait and switch with everything. And they're going to use, I guess the theory is that Donald Trump has, is what I'm guessing, is that they're going to use these increased student loan repayments and to get away from the income-based repayments. And they're going to hope that this pays for all of the expenditures that they want to do, pays for the tax cuts, and pay for all of the crap that Trump wants to do in order to not, I guess, raise the debt higher, even though they've already agreed to raise the debt by at least, $4 trillion? That's in the current deal that they want to, the continuing resolution that they want to pass. $4 trillion of added debt, including increased military spending, despite the fact that they said they weren't going to get us into more foreign wars. We all knew that was a lie if we were paying attention, but, they're spending much more on the military, which probably just is going to go pay off the military-industrial complex, and then they're going to spend much less on programs that actually help people in this country. And who's going to be paying for it? Supposedly student loan borrowers. But if we can't afford to make those payments, then what the hell? You're not going to get that money because we're not going to be able to afford it. If I can't afford it, why the hell am I going to try and even pay it? Oh, my credit's going to be hurt. Boo frickin' who? My credit's already hurting. It's going to hurt even worse? Sure. How much worse do you want it to hurt? Donald Trump is screwing over every single person who has a student loan right now with this BS. And I'm sure I'll have more rants if my personal loan situation changes on the dashboard. But there'll be more rants about this in the future, I guarantee it. But this bait and switch is not just immoral or unethical. It should be considered illegal. They should not absolutely be able to change the terms of a contract that's signed. If you want to change the terms of the contract and basically act in good faith, why should I act like the contract even exists? Because if you're going to act in bad faith, federal government, under Donald Trump, then why should I even worry about fulfilling my terms of the obligation? Again, as we saw, under borrowers' rights and responsibilities, we have the right to have income-based repayment, income-driven repayment. If you're a MAGA watching this, if you're a conservative watching this and you disagree, you better damn well put in the comment section down below. You better damn well explain to me why they should be able to violate the terms of the contract. But yet I'm expected to not only uphold the terms of the contract, but just sit back and bend over and take it when they change the terms of the contract. I just hope, if this happens to me, I hope it happens to so many MAGA supporters. I hope they get screwed over and then they really start the find out phase. I hope they go after them first for garnishing their wages or whatever they're going to do to make it so that, the student loan borrowers are forced to make those payments. It's absurd. It is absolutely absurd what they're trying to do here. And if you agree with this crap, you're a piece of crap too. Anyway, what do you think? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Unless you're a Nazi or you support this student loan BS about bait and switch on our student loans, have a good day. What do you think? Good fat man rant? Right on, fat man pants. Yeah, I guess I should move over this way because it's fat man rants, not fat man pants. But Liberal Dan Radio presents Fat Man Pants. That's hilarious. Let's see. Oh, Impeccable Living left? I'm sorry. Impeccable Living is leaving. He'll probably be back. He has to go do something fun and gay.
Oh my.
I think we all know. Say hi to Enola. Well played, Big Hook. Well played indeed. Let's see. What did I miss? What did I miss? Let's see. Thailand. Or Thailand instead of Thailand. Let's see. I know I probably skipped a whole bunch. So he got through to my rep today about this ICE abduction, asked if he had a strategy against this, and expressed concern about others being disappeared. Congress is receiving 1,600 calls per hour. They used to get 40 on average. Let's see, they had to push it back to let it air out while waiting to get Beard, whatever. Maybe that's something different. He has First Amendment rights. Of course he has First Amendment rights. 100% absolutely. Mahmoud Khalil has First Amendment rights. Because unlike conservatives who don't like to read the words of the Constitution, the rights in the Constitution, or the vast majority of the rights that are listed in the Constitution, belong to people, not just to citizens. There are some specific rights, like the right to vote. Citizens have the right to vote. They specifically state that in those voting amendments, but otherwise, the right, against, the right to free speech, right to practice your religion, the right to, keep yourself from illegal search and seizure, to have to, the Fifth Amendment right. All of those are rights that belong to people, not citizens, but people. But these conservatives just want to just wipe their asses collectively with the Constitution and just ignore the words that are in the Constitution and instead, screw over as many people as possible, especially if they're black and brown people. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. My internet went on again. Let's see. Let's see. Scroll on down. Let's see, they want to stop all protest. Exactly. That is exactly what they want to do. I just saw sarcasm whenever possible. That's always a good plan. Big Hook. Oh, it's Hedge Enemy. Sorry. Let's see. It's weird who is allowed and who isn't allowed to sing Heil. Yes, it's very weird. Let's see. The Impeccable Living. We already talked about that. I guess I've skipped some of the things that were said. It sure looked to me like RFK Jr. gave two Nazi salutes to Trump when he was introduced at the pep rally last week, I'm sure. I don't know if I saw that one in particularly, but, you have so many people in the Trump administration, I guess, at this point making Nazi salutes that how are you going to keep track of them, right? As far as the president, Donald Trump shit the bed as far as a human being. He fails miserably. Yep. The immigrant who took our job. Yeah. He took their jobs. Let's see. While he cuts hundreds of thousands of public service jobs, especially for entry level. Yeah. I mean, well, and not even entry level. They're cutting people on probationary. There are people who are probationary who were elevated, who were in a probationary step, despite the fact that they work for the government. But their new position was probationary. So they let all these people go. And then some of them, they're just, oh, we need to have you back now, but we can't find you. Like the nuclear football people or whatever, the nuclear stockpile people. I don't think it's nuclear football people. It's the nuclear stockpile people. But yeah. Trump brought the Tates, who are sex traffickers, to Florida. I haven't quite yet found where they actually did the help, but we all know. It is reasonable to conclude that Donald Trump helped the Tates come to America because, like attracts like.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Let's see, what's bad when DeSantis is disgusted with having them in Florida? Yeah. But, I'm sure DeSantis will change his mind after Donald comes and talks to him. That, I think the Andrew Tate brothers, or the Tate brothers, they were treated very unfairly, just like me and the Russia hoax and everything like that. We were all treated unfairly, so you should just be lenient with the Tate brothers because they're treated unfairly too, or else I'll treat you unfairly, and you won't like that. See, I don't have any problem with LGBTQ rights or anything like that, but we keep getting diverted into these culture issue debates when we should be arguing about the people that the Republicans are hurting. Well, that's the thing, though, is that the people that are hurting include the people who are LGBTQA. Of course, Donald Trump said it, mockingly, LGBTQA+. like he probably had no idea what the hell he was talking about, but he's just doing it in a mocking way during his Petersburg address speech. But yeah, we shouldn't allow ourselves to be distracted from all of the other things that the Trump administration is doing, whilst the MAGA conservative type folks are harming LGBTQA plus folks. Sure, but we also should not allow ourselves to get distracted from those issues either. It means we have to put a lot on our plates. It means we have to collectively fight against a lot of things. And I believe it in my heart, that they're absolutely throwing stuff out there that they don't mean or they don't necessarily care about, because they know the leftists, the liberals, the progressives, etc., the people who actually have hearts, who have empathy, those people are going to want to, they know that those people are going to stand up and fight those issues. So they're hoping that when we fight against those issues, that we'll ignore the other crap that they're doing. We will not. And the best way to make sure that that happens is to make sure that all progressive, left, liberal, whatever, leaning creators that are out there get more subscribers, get more views, get more algorithm hits on their videos and on their channels, etc., because we need to do a better job collectively elevating all of the liberal, left, progressive type folks who are actually liberal, left, progressive type folks, i.e. not the young TERFs. The young TERFs have jumped the shark. They don't deserve any of our support. But, the people like that, the sparklers are already all supporting, or most of them, from Boston Brian to Trucker John to me to Hal to Texas Paul, Midas Touch, to everybody who, there's some, Midas is a big group, but we have to help all ships rise. We have to cause the rising tide. We have to be the rising tide to help raise all of the ships. Because if we're not going to be able to fight back against this massive MAGA onslaught of creators that exist, that have no care about actually telling the truth, who are just going to just do a little tap dance and make it so that Donald Trump can have an easier time getting away with all of his bullshit. And it is absolutely bullshit. Jan Morgan, USA being dismantled and people are cheering. Morons, they're like tequila drinking lemmings, Krasnov and Felon handing us to USA and Putin. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, somebody said that I wasn't a patriot. I'm like, you're the guy who's following Donald Trump, who supports Donald Trump, who's pandering to Putin. That's treason. Handing our country over to, not fighting back against Russian cyber attacks, that's treason. That's aiding and abetting the enemy. Of course, Donald Trump doesn't consider Putin to be our enemy. He considers Zelensky to be the enemy, which is, of course, patently absurd, but, Let's see, is pay the same over there as here? As the employer doing the tax on wages, I thought you had to do your own. Well, the taxes in and of itself, we do our own taxes. But, so I don't know about the other payee or whatever. I don't know what that's like. But yeah, we do have to do our own taxes. I have yet to do my taxes this year. I think y'all will understand why, because of all the issues I've been dealing with so far. Let's see. Tony Michaels has been saying that it's a class war. Uneducated are fighting for billionaires while they can't afford to put food on their table. Well, that's what the conservatives have done for centuries. Convince the uneducated and poor people to fight for them, because one day you might be like us and you don't want to be treated like we're being treated, so you need to stand on our side. And then knowing full well that there's no way that these rubes are going to actually be able to get that make that happen. They're never going to become wealthy and rich. There's too many barriers to entry into the market to break into the millionaire club, let alone the billionaire club. But let's see. 70% of adults on SNAP are working. SNAP is a subsidy of corporations who won't pay a living wage. Exactly. I had a friend of mine, and he ran for Congress in 2006, the year after the time after I ran for the same seat, and that's how we met. And he was explaining how he doesn't agree with things like, he doesn't support having welfare. He doesn't support having food stamps, and not because of the conservative ways, but he's saying he basically made that same exact argument, that all welfare and food stamps are are handouts to big corporations that enable them to not have to pay a living wage. Simple as that. And if the corporations aren't going to make a living wage, then all of us need to make a UBI, and the corporations that are the big corporations have to be taxed accordingly to cover the cost of that UBI. Simple as that. Let's see. Minimum wage is a joke. It's barely gone up in decades. Exactly. Excuse me for the yawn. Wow. Of course, one of my favorite songs. Actually, 911 is a joke. Minimum wage is a song by They Might Be Giants. Minimum wage. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see. You can't get anyone to show up for any job less than $15 an hour around here. I think I just scrolled too far. Anyway. Let's scrolly back up. Because I did scroll down way far. There we go. We're back. So Malcolm Nance said DJT is planning to invade Canada and Greenland. Well, during the speech, he encouraged the Greenlanders to vote themselves into being American citizens. But I do have a plan for an image and maybe even a shirt. I don't know if this is going to be a shirt or not, but they really want Canada to be the 51st state. They really want Canada to be the 51st state, and they want Trump is already talking about they want to renegotiate the border between Canada and the United States. I mean, how ridiculous is that? But that's why he's calling Trudeau Governor Trudeau instead of, his actual title. Governor Trudeau is what he's been calling them. But they love to make the land votes argument. Like, look at this county map and see how the counties all voted for us. Well, I would love to be able to take, or even just a state map. They'll take the state map and be like, look at how much of the country supports us. Well, what happens when you get blue Canada? When Canada becomes the 51st state and is blue, and it's one big-ass state, and it's all blue, that's going to enable us to use the same stupid argument that you did, right? And y'all will find a big problem with the logic at that point. You'll be like, oh, land doesn't vote. Right, land never voted before either. But if we had the entirety of Canada, giant landmass that all votes one blue color because it's one freaking state, because that's what Trump wants, that one state is going to, have a crap ton of congressional seats, first of all. I mean, holy crap. And if it's one state and it's Canada, they'll get to gerrymander the seats as well as they want to, just like the Republicans have done in the red states down here. And then again, we'll just see this giant blue swath voting for president. Now, of course, it's ridiculous because, I mean, what would the Electoral College look like? I mean, maybe we should have Canada be the 51st state or whatever. Can you imagine what the Electoral College would look like if that's the case? Let's see. What's the population of Canada? 40 million. So Canada, if we're 340 million and the population of Canada is 40 million, then that would be 380 million. So how many rough, let's see. Let's do some math here, because I'm just thinking about this on the fly. So if we currently have 535 Electoral College votes, but 435 of them belong to the House. So 435, so 340 million divided by 435. One Electoral College vote, or at least, one Electoral College or House vote for every 781,000 people. So then, if there's 781,000, how many times does 40 million? 40 million divided by 781,000. Let's do that. 40 million divided by 786,000. 50. So, if Canada was to become the 51st state, Canada would give us 52 more Electoral College votes. It would represent 52. Well, 53, because it's 50.89. So 51, they'd have 51 congressional seats, and they would have 2 Senate seats. So 53 electoral college votes. And since winner takes all, that would be 53 more electoral college votes for the United States of America. So you know what? I'm going to wholeheartedly endorse Canada becoming the 51st state because it will turn America blue, period. Now, I know that our Canadian neighbors up north are not going to like that, and I don't seriously want it to happen, but every time a Republican or MAGA idiot wants to talk about how they want Canada to be the 51st state, remind them that here on Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, That's Right, we did the math, and that would be 53 electoral college votes that would go right into the Democratic Party's hands, and we would win every single election from that point on. So bring it on, fuckers. We don't want to have to deal with this crap anymore. So let's just even temporarily, so we can take things back over. We can win back the House. I don't know if we'd still win back the Senate, but it would make it easier to win back the Senate if we had 2 gigantic districts that voted blue. And then, we'd be rid of the Republican scourge on this country. Again, say it tongue-in-cheek, I think Canada should be their own country and should be able to have their own rules and laws and should be able to, not have to worry about the idiot leading the country to its south, and not have to worry about what shenanigans he's playing this day, the next day, and beyond. And I guarantee you that nobody in Canada is going to want to join the United States of America if we are still under President Donald Trump. Absolutely, 100%. They're not going to want that to happen. But let's see. Let's kind of scroll back down there. Trucker John's in the house. Good to see you, Trucker John. Kelly, he's here as well. Good to see you. If I haven't said hello, Floyd, I don't know if I said Floyd, hello to Floyd yet. Because don't give them any ideas, Dan. Look, I'm telling you, while I don't necessarily agree with the whole thing, and I don't agree with Canada being the 51st state, hell, if Canada was going to be brought into the Union, it would make much more sense to have each of the provinces at least be their own state and not just have one gigantic state. But if they did want the one gigantic state, the Republican Party would be done, at least at the presidential level and in the House. There would be no way that the Democratic Party would lose from that point on. So maybe we need it. I don't know. But, they say be careful what you wish for. And if Donald Trump is wishing for Canada to be that 51st state, then guess what? It would be hilarious, though, if Puerto Rico then all of a sudden got things together and like, we want to be the 51st state. So, Floyd, this shit is all just distractions to get us to look the other way while him and his rich buddies are filling their pockets. Well, that's the thing. That's what's going to make this more difficult. That's what's going to make these 4 years more difficult. It's going to be the fact that we have to not only deal with these minutia crap that they're trying to use as distractions, because we can't just ignore them, because if they think they can get away with it, they will. But we also have to keep our eyes on the gigantic things, the big things, the, harming the farmers again, and tariffs harming U.S. consumers because we pay the tariffs, not the other countries, but we pay the tariffs. I know y'all all know that, but any MAGA person who might be watching might not. So, as a Canadian, I know you don't think that way, but I still feel the need to defend my country. I know. I know. I don't really want that, but I just feel it's a good rhetorical point to make to shut the fuckers up. And I know I'm cursing a little more this show than I usually do, but F it. I'm pissed. What's the population of D.C.? Population of Washington, D.C. 678,000. So it should, if it was a state, it would probably have 1 electoral college vote. It's roughly the population of Wyoming. And it should be a state, It should have one congressional seat and have 2 senators, and then you'd have another 3 solidly blue seats. That's why the Republicans are never going to agree to DC statehood, because it's going to make them that much harder to be able to keep DC, or to keep the House and to keep the presidency, because that's another 3 electoral college votes they have to find that they know they're going to lose, and it's another congressional seat that they know they're going to lose as well. So, yeah, bigger than the Dakotas. I think it's actually bigger. Let's see, as of July 1st, 2024, it was 702,250. Population of Wyoming, I think, is less. 587,000. So yes, Washington, D.C. has a population that is over 113,000 more than the entire state of Wyoming. Which is why the D.C. license plates say taxation without representation. So, let's see. Canada has shootings. I don't know how many shootings take place in Canada now, but if Canada joined the United States, I have no doubt in my mind that shootings in Canada would go up, because the cancer that is the American gun culture would bleed through Canada, unfortunately. Let's see. Trying to make sure that I have caught all up with everything. Guam. Well, Guam might tip over, remember? Like, look, in the whole, I am absolutely willing to criticize my own, the representative, Hank Johnson, I think his name was, thought that the island of Guam might tip over if 8,000 Marines were stationed there. Now, maybe he was just joking in the fact that Guam is so small. Why do they need 8,000 people? But again, Democrats need better wordsmiths. Again, because Democrats can never make a joke and say something like that and have it be taken as a tongue-in-cheek comment. The Democrats are always going to be attacked for everything wrong that they say, regardless, because they're Democrats. And the media will fact-check them and will do everything else to make what the left people say. They're gonna make it so that we can't be trusted because we said one thing wrong. But again, the MAGA folks say many things wrong, and that's just them being them. Trump's just kidding when he says he's king. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, right? So, Kelly Anderson, most of the illegal guns come from the U.S. Shocked, I say. Let's go ahead and do this. We will go ahead and open up the phone lines if y'all want. 562-LIBDAN1, 562-LIBDAN1, 562-542-3261 is the phone number. If you would like to call in and join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. I don't know how much past 10 o'clock that we're going to continue the show, but if we do... but we will open up the phone lines a little bit longer as we get the show... finished up. Let me go ahead and actually lower my volume just in case, because I don't want the copyrighted tone to go over the airwaves, even though I don't think it has previously. But, it is what it is. Let's see. Floyd, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you from joining in. Remember to, if you haven't smashed the like button, smash it on the way out. Remember to like and share and take part in many conversations. Because I'm actually getting some videos that are getting more and more conservative responses to it. And y'all pick fights. Get into it with them. I'm not necessarily showing to call them stupid, but make them feel stupid by showing them that their arguments that are being made are stupid. Fight them. Hell, even if you just thank them for helping my algorithm like I do sometimes, that would be even great. Just, and if you don't have the spoons to engage, if you don't have the desire to engage, because that's just not how you roll, that's fine. Share a video somewhere else on social media or whatever. Help the algorithm that way. But yeah, I've been getting a little bit more conservative folks popping in on those videos, which I guess is good. But they're like, oh, you only had like three 20-something views and 3 comments. You're a loser. Like, I don't have other things to do in my day, like, take care of my wife and, actually prepare for the podcast and do my full-time job and get the tasks accomplished for that job as well, because that's more important than this. So, like, if I have an urgent thing that's due that I have to finish immediately, I won't I'll take the day off of here to finish that urgent job. So anyway, we took Guam during the Spanish-American War without a shot fired. They didn't know we were at war, and they were out of gun power. That's hilarious. I'm not sick of you, Big Hook, calling in. I'm sure other people do enjoy you calling in as well. But basement dwelling trolls. Wait, to the Canadians, is that us? Is that all the Americans? That are we the basement dwelling trolls, or just the incels who are banging away at their parents' keyboard downstairs, in between looking at online porn? I did hear that Pornhub is a Canadian company, I believe, and if they really are a Canadian company, they should just cut America off. I'm sure that would piss off a whole bunch of Republican men, especially probably closeted Republican men who can't admit to themselves that they are attracted to other guys, but still want to go watch the videos of such. Not that there's anything wrong with wanting to watch videos. If you're watching any pornography that involves people that consented to being filmed and consented to having it released over the internet, then I have no problem with people being able to watch that. But it's just hypocritical when the people who likely are the ones to watch it are the ones who try and criminalize homosexual behavior, just like the people who crash Grindr during the Republican National Convention. No, they're critics of you. Yes, of course, they're critics, exactly. The Project 2025's goal is to ban all porn, which is unfortunate. Nobody should be banning all porn, but yeah, I have to look into see what exactly Project 2025 says about that, because the Pornhub is cut off in Oklahoma, viewable only with VPN. It's annoying to use VPN if your connection isn't great. Let's see, we have an incoming call, do we? There we go. We got Big Hook on the line. Hey, Big Hook, what's going on? Good to hear from you again.
Yeah. So, do we have to worry about that dumpster fire spreading over the border into here? Because I'll tell you, it's getting pretty worrying.
How close to the border are you? Because I know Donald Trump wants to renegotiate the border. So.
Yeah, I'm probably a good 45 minutes away from the border from where I live, but at any rate,
who knows how far north Donald Trump wants to push that border up? I have no idea, but again, it's ridiculousness. It's unserious stuff by an unserious person who unfortunately has to be taken seriously with everything he does, because whenever he suggests something, it's a threat, and it's additional harm that could be caused on the American people and people abroad, especially if he wants to do things like steal Canadian land under the threats of tariffs that he might put on if you don't. So but yeah, I mean, the idea, the way to get statehood, I'm sure the people of Canada would not vote to become the 51st state, because having all of Canada be one state is whatever. And I don't know if even our military would have the military will to follow an order to go invade our neighbors to the north, but you never know. I believe it's probably just more bluster than anything, but it's also just childish and immature for our head executive of our country to be referring to a leader of a country as something other than his official title, i.e. by calling him, Governor Trudeau. So,
do you think there's any possibility that the Republicans, if they face enough heat, it's within their own states, will opt for the 25th Amendment and turf him finally? Because at this point, I mean, the cost of living is going to be to the point where people are going to lose their homes and everything else. And then on top of that, I mean, the tariffs, he put the tariffs on aluminum and steel, but that's also from anywhere else as well worldwide. So at this point, you're looking at 50% tariffs either way. So there's no other source for a lot of that manufacturing and whatnot. I mean, he keeps talking a big spiel about how America needs to retake the manufacturing status back. But, let's face it, the billionaires aren't going to take their money and do that.
Right.
They have no interest in helping the working class. They just prefer to rape and steal on a continual basis. They know that you guys don't have any options. It's what is it? It's Target, it's Walmart, it's 3 grocery chains. I don't know how you guys do it, to be honest with you.
I shop mostly at Costco at this point, so I'm happy that because Costco's shareholders voted to keep DEI initiatives, which of course pissed conservatives off. But I'm like, look, the Costco did what y'all want them to do. They gave the people the owners a say, and the owner said keep it, and so there you go. So, but again, hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite. I do not believe that I'm just kind of perusing over the 25th Amendment. I don't think the states would have anything to do with that. 25th Amendment is more about I think a majority of the cabinet and the vice president have to do it, which would require Vance to turn on Trump. So I think the last time the 25th Amendment used was briefly, just I guess when President Reagan went in to have colon cancer treatment. So he named temporarily George H.W. Bush as the acting president until he got out of his surgery. But it's the state issue. The way I don't even know if the states even have a way of doing it. It would need to be done via the House, and you'd have to have a majority of the people in the House vote for it, and then you'd need a supermajority of the Senate. So I can't imagine that anybody is going to be doing that, because the Republican Party, the elected officials in the Republican Party are a bunch of spineless cowards who do not have any ideas of maintaining their oaths to the Constitution. They're just going to maintain their oaths to Donald Trump. So
yeah, it's
wait, hold on. Josh Vance. Wait. Josh in the chat says Vance turns on couches. I was like, no, Vance gets turned on by couches. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of scared myself these days, because a lot of my predictions seem to be right on. And oddly enough, today, like on Randy Rhodes, she basically went through my whole spiel from the last couple of times, and said, it's things just keep getting worse and worse, and everybody is worried what's the next crazy thing that he's going to do next. He's turned on all of our allies. He's basically cut all intelligence from Ukraine, so that way they're flying blind, trying to pick off missiles that are coming from Russia. I don't know what to say anymore. I worry that more people are going to die under Donald Trump's reign than than possibly the number of Jews that were killed by Hitler in Germany, because his policies are going to hurt so many people who have no other means of feeding themselves or medicating themselves for things like AIDS and other things as well. And China, yes, China could step in, but they're probably thinking the same thing. Why would I want to help a bunch of starving people that'll be dead, and it'll make it easier for me to march in and steal their resources? I don't know where this is all going to go. It's scary, because he's basically gone to authoritarian mode. He seems to think that he's a dictator, and that he can press all the buttons and muscle his way through. And that's the other thing I wonder. Will the military turn on him and say, no, we're going to remove you because he is certifiably nuts?
That was my hope during the first administration. During the first part of during the first Trump administration, I kept on saying that I hope the military remembers what the Egyptian military did when it came down to removing a tyrant from power in order to enable the people to have a actual leader that they voted for and supported. Now, while the people of Egypt may not have picked the best person to replace their previously corrupt leader, still. The military has a job to do, and they have oaths, and the oaths that the military takes are to the country, not to the president, and each and every one of them needs to realize that, especially if he starts giving them illegal orders. I'm looking at something right here. It looks like if you look at the deaths that could have been averted from during the Trump administration, if you compared the USA and other G7 countries. The gap between us and other G7 nations, 461,000 avoidable deaths in the U.S. that happened. Now, of course, under Obama, it was like, I think it peaked at maybe 420, 430 or something like that. And then during Trump, it jumped up even more. So it's been a number. The difference between the number of deaths that should have not taken place, but did because of our dumb policies. It spiked during Reagan, it dropped down during George W. Bush, and then it's been steadily increasing ever since, even under Clinton, under W, under Obama, and then finally under Trump. I don't have the figures right now under Biden, but I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah. I mean, the amount of COVID deaths that we had, I think, we just like we are 4% of the world's population and produce 25% of the world's pollution. We are 4% of the world's population, and we're responsible for much more of the COVID deaths than, as a percent of our population as compared to the rest of the world. So,
yeah, there's just no good news when it comes. I mean, I think everybody goes, oh no, here comes the U.S. again. They gotta start another war, or they gotta do this, or they gotta do that, or the only time that, that something good came out of it was basically when, Yugoslavia was deteriorating, and they stepped in and stopped the genocide from becoming even larger than it potentially could have become.
Right.
And I don't know. There's. You guys have basically been the global police when it comes to enabling free trade amongst all the worldwide nations. But outside of that responsibility, I don't see U.S. policy being all that beneficial to others other than the NATO alliance, which he seems to be determined to blow up and to side with Russia. This is not going to end well.
No.
And, you're scaring the living shit out of everybody unnecessarily. And the thing is that the conservatives really, they say, oh, well, we're fiscally responsible. No, they aren't. They've never been fiscally responsible.
Nope.
Everything says this. I mean, yesterday I was watching Sam Cedar versus 20 Maggots on Jubilee, and the stuff that they were saying was just outrageous. And the other thing is that they do the same thing over and over again. They try to talk over him rather than let him actually say his piece. They're rude beyond words and actions. And they believe the stupidest stuff. And when you present them with evidence, they go, oh, well, I don't believe a liberal source. And it's like,
right.
40 years
they don't
of
even believe their own
brainwashing.
sources. Like back when what was it, Adlo Him or whatever, was doubting that Acts 4 and 5 endorsed socialism, and I had to bring up the actual text of the of Acts 4 and 5 in the Bible, be like, look, there you go. You need to give up all when you sell your house. You got to give all your worldly possessions out to and redistribute it to the needy. And well, that's not, you know, they don't even want to care. They don't care about truth. They don't care about anything. All they care about is appeasing Herr Fuhrer.
Well, this is the thing. This is what gets me, because they say, conservatives are Christian. Well, Christian means that you have a conscience, which means that you advocate for people that are worse off than you are, and that you do whatever to help them. And, you know, Democrats, when they're in power, try their best to share the wealth. I mean, that's what always ends up happening. The blue states are paying for the red states to survive. And, you know, and they give us a rap, and they say, oh, you're just stupid liberals and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, hello, your bread is buttered by us.
Yep. Blue states are the producers, and red states are the takers. And even the typical excuse from the Republicans, oh, that's just because of the cities. Well, maybe you should run your states better, and the cities will be better. We have cities in the blue states too, but yet we're still givers, not takers.
But that's the thing. That one guy there, he went in there and he said, he said, hungry children, it builds character. And I was like, that doesn't build character. If it teaches them anything, it's that conservatives are cruel. And
children should have to work for their food. Like, so an 8-year-old's going to go to McDonald's to go work out. It's absurd. Like, no child should be forced to have to wonder about whether or not they're going to eat at school. And everybody who goes to school should be able to have breakfast and lunch so they can be productive during the day, because studies show that the more if you have a good balanced breakfast and lunch and you eat during the day, then you're going to be less likely to be distracted. You're going to be more likely to have a good productive day. But hell, they don't care about children, even though they claim to. They don't care about children simply because of the fact that if they did, they would not be going into schools to try and arrest kids for being supposedly criminals. But, you know, kids can't be criminals. I mean, you can shoplift as a kid, but these kids, if their parents brought them here across the border, or if their parents gave birth to them here after they crossed the border, that's neither of those actions are criminal activity on behalf of the kids. But yet, the Trump administration is so cruel, they want to treat them as if they're criminals, which is just putting fear into the hearts and minds of people who. Even my people who might be confused as if they are, of Hispanic descent, because or if they think that you might be not here legally, but you just because you look Hispanic, just like they treated that woman, the lesbian woman, the stud, so to speak, in the bathroom in Arizona. They didn't know that she was really a woman. They assumed that she was a man just because of based how she was looked, and treated her accordingly. Same thing with the Hispanic folks. You're going to see more Hispanic folks being picked up, being, try to be deported. And I'm sure a bunch of them are going to be people who are citizens, who are adult citizens, who shouldn't be deported, but they're going to make excuses anyway because this administration is just a white supremacist administration that doesn't care about anything about truth or facts or justice or anything. They just want to make this country white again. So,
well, that's just it. That's what's even more, because they claim as conservatives to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So you should learn to be self-reliant. You should learn to be,
you can't afford boots. How can you pull yourself by your bootstraps?
Exactly, and this is just it. But what gets me is that they claim that the immigrants that are coming here are criminals, and it's like, hello, these are people that actually live the values that you claim to hold on to. And it's like, you guys are so full of shit. The immigrants are actually the ones that are doing the stuff to make themselves self-sustainable. They are doing the stuff that, you guys refuse to do. You talk a good piece, but you don't do any of it. And that's what bugs the crap out of me, because hypocrisy is, as you say, it's their only quality, because they and the same thing with the projection. They project things, and it's what they're actually doing. Everything that they claim that the Democrats are guilty of is what they're actually doing.
Yep.
I mean,
every Republican accusation is a confession. I mean, it just whenever you point at somebody, there are three fingers pointing right back at you, right? Well, that happens with the Trump MAGA folks all the time. They claim that this is what the Democrats are doing, the liberals doing, the left is doing, and then that's literally what they're doing. I mean, that's how Donald Trump ran his campaign. He ran his campaign that entire way. Look at what these people are doing. Well, that's what you're doing. No, just pay no attention to what I'm doing. That's what they're doing.
But this is the thing. It's been a 40-year project for them. They have basically gone and brainwashed these people via right-wing radio and Fox News, along with Rush Limbaugh and all the rest of them, to believe in this shit. And that they are somehow better than all the rest, and that it's only a matter of time before that lottery ticket in their pocket is going to pay off. And it's like, It's stupid. It is stupid. They
can't even like, this is like their problem. Like, they have such problems with simple, basic concepts like math. Like, they'll say like, oh, well, more people watch Fox News, and that must mean that we're right. No, because if you look at all the other people that watch other news channels, that trumps that you add those all up, and those there are more people watching liberal news than conservative news. It's just your one station, your one main station just happens to have more viewership than each of the individual ones, but that doesn't mean that y'all are winning. It's just like the whole land voting thing when they showed the maps of the county maps. Oh, look, all this red area sprawling across the United States. Well, land doesn't vote. Bison don't vote. Sheep don't vote. So
yeah, I know. But
Kevin Anderson in the chat. Kevin in the chat. Rush is dead. Yes. Rest in pieces. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is the thing, though. But they have convinced themselves that that something is going to happen, and it's whether it be faux Christianity, whether it be faux conservatism. I don't see. I mean, if you ask a conservative, oh, what have the conservatives ever done to help you? And they'll go, oh, they lowered my taxes.
No.
And what happened?
Taxes.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, so did your roads get any better? Does that mean that your car wore out sooner?
Right.
Did it mean that you lost your health care, and that your prescriptions went up higher in cost and everything else because because you basically decided that, oh, billionaires deserve all the money they make. They shouldn't pay taxes, And it's like, hello, you're the one fucking killing yourself working for them, and you get nothing out of it.
Yep.
I mean,
Wait, hold on. I have to wait.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Anyway, you said get nothing. I had to play the Willy Wonka line. Anyway, go on.
But this is the thing. They are so stupid. They cannot see that they are doing, like I said last time, they are shooting themselves in the foot. And they're doing it to say, oh, but I'm getting one over the liberals. And it's like, no, you aren't. You're just harming yourself.
And that's the thing that frustrates me the most, is the fact that they are so stupid, and they don't see how Donald Trump insulted them by when he called them the poorly educated. That the only people that he's ever said that he loved the poorly educated, and the fact that we lose to them despite them being that stupid is just frustrating beyond all get out. Like we should be able to beat them at every turn, but I guess stupid people in large numbers can accomplish ridiculous things. So. Just the massive horde of mindless zombies. That's the theme of every zombie movie. These are mindless hordes, but they cause a threat because there's so many of them. So,
well, this is just it. I mean, we had over the weekend we had a shooting in Toronto where 12 people were hospitalized. we got very, very lucky. Nobody died.
Right.
But 3 gunmen came in and just started shooting in a pub. And, and then the other thing is apparently the Tesla dealerships miraculously sold 8,400 vehicles over one weekend just before the rebate from the government of Canada was to expire. And I'm like, Elon is now stealing from us. So I'm guessing that what he did was he went and he bought the cars outright and basically claimed all the rebates to himself. And then he'll just resell the cars.
Sounds like a plausible thing that a corrupt billionaire would do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, the corruption just keeps making its way up here, and we are really sick of it. It's bad enough we got to watch you guys fuck each other over all the time on the TV. Oh, another mass shooting at a school. Parents gave the gun to their son as a birthday present, even though he was mentally ill and were told by counselors that this boy should never be given any means of a weapon. I mean, this stuff is so stupid. You would think nobody would believe it, but you guys keep doing it over and over and over again. And we can't rationalize why you keep doing this to yourselves. It really is disheartening, it's we care about you guys.
Maybe the United States of America should not have so readily accepted the surrender of the Confederate States. Maybe if we would have just trampled over the Confederate States and then retaken them that way, maybe that would have been a better way to deal with it, because then you wouldn't have the continued breeding of the hatred that continued throughout the century and beyond afterwards. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me being cynical. But we allowed people who were traitors to this country and who took up arms against this country to just come back as if nothing happened. We enabled people to, way back then, and then those people had children, and they had children, and they had children, and all of them were, and I'm sure not many of them escaped their racist upbringings. So what do you do when you have half the country at that time continuing to breed and have more kids and promote more racism? And an example that they set was just that, okay, well, we're just going to have slavery, but it's just going to be under a different name. Instead of us taking them and from Africa, we're going to take them from the prison cells after we lock them up for manufactured charges like loitering. So we, one of the things that I said on election night, it was, and beyond, was that both racism and sexism won the day. We should have an enlightened country. We should have an enlightened populace. But unfortunately, when it comes down to it, race is the only reason that Biden was able to defeat Trump is because he was a white man. So Trump's being a white man didn't come into play, and they could actually look at the issues. But when you had Vice President Harris, who's a woman, and it was a woman of color, you then see the people like, oh, I can't vote for her, for whatever sexist and or racist reasons they did. And we saw that on election night when you look at the statewide results of the states that she should have won but didn't. When, Latino guy managed to win, I think, Arizona. And then you had the governor defeat the white male governor defeated the black racist in North Carolina, but still had significantly more votes than Harris did. And even other states like, I think in Michigan or whatever, where she lost, but I think the Democratic senator won, who happened to be a white woman, because in this country, racism and sexism are king. And if you can combine them both together, that's even better for the MAGA conservatives, because then they don't have to work as hard, because they know at the end of the day, you have enough people who still believe that, women belong in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant instead of, in the Oval Office and other places of power. So that's America in a nutshell.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's all white lies. White lies. You know, racism doesn't exist. That's a white lie.
Right.
America is a Christian nation. That's a white lie. Conservatives have your best interest at heart. That's a white lie.
Yeah.
You know, billionaires provide all the jobs. That's a white lie.
Right.
You know, I mean, Elon is trying his damnedest to create robots that will replace everybody.
Elon and Bezos.
Yeah, you know, so like, what are you going to do? Once you've been replaced, that's it. That job is gone. You know, and
it's one of the main reasons I'm behind a universal basic income, because we're going to get to a point in this country where a lot of the jobs are across the world. Even we're going to get to a point where most of the jobs can be done in an automated way, where you don't need to have humans working the jobs, and the humans can do whatever it is that they want to do and have more leisurely working activities. Maybe we'll have more people creating things like writing books and, you know, making music and painting or whatever, and increasing the arts, but they won't be able to do that if they can't afford to live, because they can't afford to eat and have rent, because all of the jobs are taken by the robots and are all animated, or animatronics, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They're all automated. That's the word I was looking for. So
yeah. Well, like I said, Randy Rhodes today, she was on a doom scroll rant fest, and I was like, it was pretty much everything that I had said or predicted that was coming to fruition. You know, I mean, things are just getting worse and worse and worse. You know, oh, the bird flu is here. Oh, let's fire all the scientists that are responsible for trying to contain and come up with a cure for it.
And make it and prohibit the CDC and other health agencies from giving press releases so that the people can be informed of what the hell's going on. That's also there, because Trump wants less information, because less information means he doesn't look as bad, because he wants the amount of information he can reduce coming out of his administration, the better. They've already started giving lie detector tests to people in Homeland Security, because they feel that some people may have been tipped off to some ICE raids. And it's like, well, you know, you're really going to be doing that? I mean, you're going to make,
yeah.
You know, and again, what happens if they read the lie detector test wrong? Then what? You know, you're going to fire somebody over an incorrect result, and I'm sure they're not going to be worried about who does it, because they don't worry about process. They mock process. The idea that we should be following a process is a joke to them, because they don't care about that as long as Donald Trump gets to do what the hell he wants to do. So.
Yeah, but Dan, you and I know this, but these idiots don't. And that's the thing. They live in ignorance as a choice. They don't. They believe in conspiracy theories. They want to live in this virtual reality that Trump has created for them, because it makes them feel better about themselves, because they don't have anything better to do with their lives than mope around thinking, you know, it's the brown person's fault that I'm so miserable and have food on my plate. You know, it's like, come on.
Well, one of my videos about Israel and Palestine is that, you know, that the Israelis and the Palestinians really need to band together, and instead of fighting each other, need to look up, proverbially, to see that they're not each other's problems. The people are the people who are the problems of the people who stir up the hornet's nest. But it's the same thing with like, you know, the poor, ignorant, you know, racist white folks who they don't care if their life is bad as long as other people's lives are worse. They're just going to continue to look down on the people who they're told to look down on, so they don't have to look up and see where the problem really is. So,
but that's the thing, though. We have all these life lessons, and we have all these sayings, and we have all these truths. But you know what? When you allow states to dictate whether or not they can teach the truth, be it through history or civics or ethics in the school system, you get what you get, which is a 40-year generation of idiots who don't see reality. And that's the most frightening part of all.
Yep.
you know, I don't know.
Look, I fully feel like I really wish I wanted if Vice President Harris would have won this election, I would have had much fewer things to talk about on the podcast. And while that might have not have been good for the show, I would have much rather that for the country and for the world, because I would rather have a boring show where we can just talk about silly stuff all the time and maybe some minor political issues that might come up than have to like be, again, doom scrolling or just constantly checking to see what's going to be talked about. What can we talk about today? Like yesterday, I had no idea exactly what I was going to talk about today, and then between the events of the weekend and today, I was just like, okay, boom, 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 we're done. Especially when they came out with the comments about the student loans. I mean, I don't only comment about things that affect me, but that's going to affect me if it takes place, and I'm gonna be screwed. And there's nothing I'll be able to do about it, because how am I going to fight the federal government? How am I going to sue the federal government to prevent them from, changing the terms of the contract I signed? And the conservatives just don't seem to also understand that point either. That if I signed a contract, the people on both sides of that contract should be beholden to the terms of the contract. They don't want the U.S. government to be beholden to those terms that they agreed to when they issued the loan. And that's ultimately a huge problem with what's going on with this. So,
yeah, I don't know. The world doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me anymore. And the thing is that I slept much better when Sleepy Joe was in power.
Yeah.
And I mean that's the thing. It's not. These people are stupid enough to believe that one man does everything. And they don't seem to understand that it's the administration. It's all the people that are put in charge of all the differing departments, and that understand how government works and how it's funded and how taxation is supposed to work, so that way all the moving parts that need to be oiled and greased are oiled and greased. And the Republicans are like, we can run that car another 100,000 miles. Don't pay no attention to the black smoke in your rear view mirror. And those brakes, who needs brakes? All you got to do is hit something in front of you. Then you'll come to a full stop. It's like, these people are idiots.
I reckon you're right. I reckon. Hell, there was somebody that the show. I didn't subject my wife too much this morning, because this morning I had to bring my wife to physical and occupational therapy. We dropped her off, then we went and I dropped my kid off at school, then I had to go pick her up. But I didn't want to subject her too much. But after I dropped her off, I started listening back to that conservative talk show again. And the topic that they were talking about today was frickin' chemtrails. Like, they're still not over that conspiracy theory. And when I bring up the fact that I'll say to them, look, if everything's a conspiracy theory, nothing's a conspiracy theory. Their argument is, well, there are some conspiracies that came true. Yeah, how many? How many of the bullshit conspiracy theories, or how many of the conspiracy theories that y'all hold, conservatives, how many of them actually came true, versus how many of them have either been debunked or not proven true, or you just know that they're full of crap anyway. Because most of their stuff, like especially with the chemtrail BS, is full of crap. I tried to explain to my youngest one about how ridiculous it is, and even and when I described it, I was like, "What do you think about that?" And he was like, "That sounds pretty stupid." So if my 12-year-old can understand that the whole chemtrail conspiracy theory is, mind-numbingly stupid, you would think they would be able to. But again, Donald Trump said he loves the poorly educated.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but bullshit is far more entertaining, because you have to suspend disbelief to be able to buy into it. And of course it's going to sound grandiose and, magical, because that's what it is. It's all fake. It's smoke and mirrors. The magician tells you it's, it's sleight of hand. It's
right.
The hand is quicker than the eye. Misdirection. It's everything there. It's manipulation of your human senses. I mean, that's why Neil deGrasse Tyson says your eyes and your ears can deceive you. And, because what you think you see or what you think you hear are not necessarily true. Because, unless you have other instruments that can verify everything that you think that you saw and can give you a different interpretation, you won't know any better. And this is what Trump is doing. He is taking away all the measures by which we verify whether things are true or are not.
Yep, that's 100%.
And that's what
and he was doing it in the last administration. He was doing it when he wanted them to stop testing and during COVID. I'm sure he's doing it when it comes to border apprehensions. I'm sure they're miscounting or choosing not to count or just not even catching people and just then claiming, oh, we've apprehended less people at the border. Well, I don't fucking believe y'all, because I don't believe Donald Trump would ever be honest with the number in his life. So yeah, I mean, it's constantly about misleading, misdirection, sleight of hand, again, paying no attention to the orange idiot behind the curtain.
Well, one thing that I found interesting over the weekend with Hal Sparks, Philip Ittner was there, and they discussed something that I didn't realize. And that was, he said, oh, Obama gave him blankets. And then it was like, yeah, but you have to realize, and this is what Philip Ittner was saying, Poroshenko was on the Russian oligarchs. He was in their pocket, and he was malleable, and he was corrupt. And the last thing that Obama wanted to do was give him weaponry that he could then utilize to turn on the citizenry. Because, it's like they say, absolute power corrupts absolute. And this is the thing. They were on the verge of corrupting him completely. And the same thing with the other lady leader. She was the same way. She was in the pocket as well, And even though she spent some time in jail and whatnot, she came out of it no worse for the wear and did certain things. But, here's Trump once again trying to get them in the pocket again and say, oh, well, we can get rid of Zelensky, and then you guys can go back and start over from where you left off. And it's like, so I'd never heard it described that way, but that's what ended up happening. It was a calculated maneuver because they knew that the people were compromised. And this is the story that is not being told to these people. So they buy his bullshit. Oh, I gave him javelins, whereas Obama gave him just blankets. And it's like, no, he gave him a little bit more than that. But what he didn't give them was weaponry that he could then use to turn against the citizenry.
Right.
Especially when the Maidan revolutions were happening.
And they get the timeline wrong, too, because they claim that Joe Biden was the one who tried to push the prosecutor out, and that was because of Hunter Biden or whatever. No, it's the world, the entire world, wanted to get rid of that corrupt prosecutor that Ukraine had. So Joe Biden, because he was vice president of the United States at the time, just happened to kind of spearhead the push for it. But it had nothing to do with Hunter Biden and anything that he might have been doing in Ukraine or whatever. And but they're just so obsessed with Hunter Biden and, especially Marjorie Taylor Greene and showing his junk off in the House floor that, they're just going to make up stuff because it sounds good and nobody on their side bothers to fact check. They just repeat the same bullshit over and over again. Give me your last word.
Yeah.
Because I probably have to go downstairs and take care of my wife.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. I probably went on far longer than I should have as well. But
we could talk for hours. I don't care. We could have the Liberal Dan and Big Hook show every once in a while. That's fine too. I probably have to.
Yeah, it'll be the big. What Big Hook is pissed off about this week? Yeah, exactly.
I should make a new background. Big Hook rants just for you. Just to have Fat Man rants for me. Big Hook rants for you. So.
No. Well, the thing is that I know some of the details, but you seem to be able to fill in all the small details that I can't necessarily memorize and spout off by heart. And it's I hate to say it, it's sort of like that Tom Cruise movie where he says, "You complete me." Sad but true.
At least you're saying
So
that I
I think,
complete you and not I wish I knew how to quit you, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Anyway, so
okay, yeah,
well,
I'll
thank
let
you
you
so
go.
much, Big
And
Hook. You have a
yeah,
great rest of your night, and don't worry up there too much, at least yet. Just be cautiously concerned, at least at this point, and hopefully, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe, hopefully, one day Donald Trump is just going to piss off the wrong people, and he's going to make the mistake, and they're going, and he's not going to be able to convince them to stay on his side. Hopefully, but
yeah,
again, I'm not going to hold my breath that that's going to happen. But I'll turn as blue as California at that point. But anyway, again, thank you so much,
yeah.
Big Hook. You have a great night, and we'll maybe talk to you Wednesday as well.
Okay, and take off to the Great White North.
All right, have a good one.
Okay,
Don't eat the
bye.
yellow snow. Where do you go where the Huskies go?
Exactly. You got
All
it.
right,
Okay,
bye, man.
have a good night.
You
Bye.
too, bye. All right, everyone. That's Big Hook, and we are going to shut down the phone lines at this point because I'm probably gonna go help my wife soon. Let's just shut off the call-in number. I'm surprised I haven't had any like voicemails left from people who might have watched my videos, especially the one that I had the call-in number during one of the things that I uploaded a short of, or not a short of, but a shorter themed video of. But anyway, what was somebody said? Lisa, I've seen the Hunter Biden pics. Yeah, I was wondering if maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene was obsessed with showing the pics on the House floor or the committee floor, simply because maybe she was impressed by what she saw and wanted to cuckold her husband or her next husband with Hunter Biden. You never know. Maybe that would be enough to get him to shut up, to convince MTG 6B that she that the reason she was showing off the Hunter Biden junk in the House of Representatives floor is because she just wanted to be the next she wanted Hunter to be the next person she cuckolded her next partner with. I don't know. Again, party of family values, yet they'll vote for people that cheat on their spouses all over the place. So, yep, beach blonde, bad built, butch body, or 6B, as I like to call her, or MTG, with emphasis on the empty as describes her head. Anyway, we will be we're not going to do a show tomorrow like we did last week, simply because we'll do a nerdydan.com stream on twitch.tv/nerdydan.com. We will then be back on the regular time Wednesday, unless something happens between now and then. You never know. Just always make sure to follow me on Blue Sky, follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/liberaldanradio. I'm Liberal Dan Radio on Blue Sky. I'll probably post here as well if I'm going to go live doing a special thing. Margarine Trailer Queen, exactly, Lisa. There's all sorts of great nicknames. And of course, they whine and cry and bitch and moan and complain if we call them nicknames, despite the fact that their dear leader loves to use nicknames for everybody, and they have no problem with that. And they'll call him Sleepy, Creepy, whatever, Beijing, Balloon Biden, or whatever the hell Jeff Carrera calls him, or whatever. I don't know. Just a bunch of morons and idiots. But anyway, if you're listening on Twitch, Moscow Marge. What emphasis on cow, right? Ranger Mooseman. Anyway, so thank you very much for also listening. Again, you get a abrupt exit over on Twitch, and then we will play the outro as normal on YouTube. So until I see you next time, either join me for the Nerdy Dan stream over on Twitch on Tuesday, or we'll go ahead and I'll see y'all Wednesday night. So until then, try not to panic too much. Of course, I'm sitting here panicking about my student loans all the live long day, especially with that announcement. So we'll see about that. But we'll see if we can get out the hypocrites and get them to comment on that video and see what they have to say, because, hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite. I'm sure they're going to be filled with hypocrisy on those comments. Anyway, thank you so much, Twitch. Hard out now, and then we'll hear the rest of the song and be more easy out over on YouTube. So thank you very much. Y'all have a good night. Peace.